I'm Matt Bishar with NAREIT, and I'm here in London for EPRA's annual conference. Joining me is Andrew Baum, Professor of Land Management at the University of Reading's Henley Business School, as well as the Chairman of the Investment Committee for CBRE Investors' Global Multi-Manager Team. Andrew, how do you see the outlook for the overall European real estate market in the next 12 months?
Okay. As we heard from Ian Shepperson, the economic outlook is pretty appalling for Europe, and the stresses and tensions in Europe are inevitably going to knock onto the real estate market. So it looks like the wind is not going to blow everybody in the right direction. So it looks like the big cities, the big high quality assets are going to perform reasonably well because they're going to dominate the market share, and the peripheral assets are likely to lose market share. So unfortunately, I suspect it's going to be a market where the big get bigger and the small get smaller, and a flight to quality is what we're going to see, and that's probably going to affect cities, it's going to affect countries, it's going to affect individual assets. So probably a time to back the big guys that have got their assets already in place, I suspect.
What do you think EPRA's priorities should be over the next 12 months?
Well, clearly EPRA's doing a great job promoting the sector as an investment medium, and I think there's a lot more to go, a lot further to go. You know, a lot of the world doesn't recognise listed real estate securities as an asset class. There's a lot of real estate investors who aren't able to invest in listed securities because they regard it as a volatile sector which is somewhat separate from the mainstream real estate market. But the great thing about the listed sector is the transparency that we can all observe, which hasn't been true in the private real estate market. And so more promotion, more education to allow investors to understand the role of the listed sector, I think.
Now, looking at the research activities, where do you think EPRA should focus those efforts on?
I think genuinely independent, thoughtful research on the performance characteristics of listed real estate. I think we could do slightly more applied work on how, for example, how to manage private real estate and listed real estate in the same shop. You know, for example, how do you underweight direct real estate, which is illiquid, if you want to upweight liquid real estate? That's a problem nobody's really solved. Can you use derivatives? Can you go short? How do you actually do this? And I don't think we've put enough effort into thinking about that, and that's a classic research topic that could be modelled.
Great. As an expert on global real estate investment, what areas intrigue you as the most interesting opportunities?
I haven't been everywhere. The really intriguing, I suppose there are intriguing new sectors and there are intriguing new markets. The intriguing new sector really is residential, which sounds crazy because residential is probably 4 times the size of the commercial property market globally. There are some countries that are fully exposed to residential. It's part of their investment universe, the Netherlands, Germany to a lesser extent, the US. But UK, for example, has no institutional exposure to the residential market, and we have a housing crisis. I don't think that's too strong a word. It's all over the newspapers. There are people trying very hard to create investment product in the residential sector. The REIT format is ideal for residential ownership. It's something of a mystery about why we can't create a real category killer residential product and get more money into that sector. Other emerging sectors clearly going to be needed. You know, the whole healthcare area, senior living. You know, Europe is pretty much behind in all of those areas. And then the markets that are truly fascinating are the ones with the great demographics, the young populations. And so, you know, the obvious ones like Turkey, then the less obvious ones like Iran, if the political situation changes. Places like Pakistan, you know, huge, wonderful demographics, and you see the US surviving with this huge market in Mexico on its doorstep. You know, Europe has these markets on its own doorstep, and it needs to unlock them sometime. And real estate is an essential first phase of unlocking those markets.
And what do you see as the biggest threat to the global commercial real estate market?
Oh God, I mean, there are lots, but the one thing that would worry me would be a scandal in the private real estate market. We have them from time to time. Every now and again, we have a Madoff in the hedge fund world. You know, we have something like that in the real estate market that would kill us, put us back years and years and years. And unfortunately, the nature of private real estate product means that could happen. It's probably less likely to happen in the listed sector, which is another reason why, you know, with the good guys, although I do work in the private sector as well, and I do my best to make sure that that's as professional, transparent and open as possible.
And picking up on that answer, what is your take on the role that listed real estate securities can play in a portfolio alongside direct investment?
To me, I've changed my view over the last 5 years or so. I would have argued 5 years ago, maybe 10 years ago, and I probably have at NAREIT conferences, that listed real estate is volatile, it's correlated with the stock market, it's not really real estate. I've really changed my view because the collapse in 2008 showed that private real estate is volatile. Clearly volatile. It's capable of being leveraged even more than listed real estate tends to be capable of being leveraged. So really the performance characteristics of listed and unlisted are pretty much the same. The differences that are reported are generally noise created by valuation methodologies and the way markets work. So I think a wise real estate investor has listed and private in the same portfolio and needs to find ways of arbitraging between the two on a continuing basis.
Great. Andrew, thank you very much for joining us.
It's been a pleasure.
Great. For more on the global real estate investment market, be sure to visit REIT.com as well as EPRA.com.